Hey guys, TV here, and today I want to talk about the most requested video, I guess, that I have. People want me to tell them what they should upgrade. And I think that's fair enough. You do want to save your resources. I obviously, as a YouTuber or content creator, want to experiment more than you guys probably want. You guys want to be efficient. It is the nature of pay-to-win games where free-to-play players do make the majority of the player base. So you have to be as efficient as possible to keep up somewhat with people that have money to spend, or money that they don't have actually but still spend. You know that is a problem in the pay-to-win world. But hey, let's get started with talking about what is essential in the game. First of all, I would make the case that Tier 1 and Tier 2 are more important than Tier 3 right now in the game. Tier 3, by the time Tier 3 happens, most games are decided. And I do really mean that. I have played a bunch of games already, and very rarely did the Tier 3 units matter. Most of the time it is what someone sees the opening either on Tier 1 or Tier 2 to finish the game, and then also the time runs out. Often when someone is playing for Tier 3 and he would at some point overpower me, I have enough of an edge that I can't keep defending, the time runs out, and his Tier 3 was for nothing. So Tier 1, the most important thing that you have to defend against is obviously the Cobalt Rush. Everyone knows it, most people hate it, understandably, and the best solution for that is the Cobalt Bomb. It is pretty much named, I guess it's supposed that they have built it, but it's been used to kill them for the most part. Why the Cobalt Bomb? Why not poison? The biggest argument for that is its cooldown. It has a 21-second cooldown and you can use it again. The Firestorm has a 36 cooldown and it doesn't get smaller while leveling up to 8, just if you wondered. And the Poison has the biggest cooldown, no, it's actually the same, of 36 seconds. That's a big difference. Even also when it comes to the deployment cost, the radius is smaller than with those, but the Cobalts most of the time are either they attack from two completely different sides and neither of those spells would hit both groups, or they are very condensed on one side and the Cobalt Bomb just does the trick as well as the Poison or the Firestorm would, with smaller cost and quicker replayability. Because if someone commits to a Cobalt Rush, he's most likely not just done yet, he will most likely come a second time. And the Cobalt Bomb is somewhat fast enough back compared to Firestorm, and the Poison just regenerates too slow. Now here it comes kind of to the rock, paper, scissors kind of scenario when it comes to Kobolds, Vanguards, Hunters, Tricksters. The Trickster are obviously a very interesting way to counter Kobolds. They have a decent amount of health, they have a decent attack speed, good enough damage to get the Kobolds down, to counter them. However, in my opinion, they are a little bit more specific than the others would be. So I would say it is healthy to focus on Hunters and Kobolds. Kobolds for you to use the Cobalt Rush yourself, and Hunters to counter the Cobalt Rush, while the Hunters also give you the first ability to hit air units, which is always nice. Because on Tier 2 there is the Hatchling, there is the Moth Lady, and they're both rather often played. And obviously on Tier 3 you have the Dragon to deal with, or the Penguin Balloon Pilot. The Hunters are actually countering the Penguin Balloon Pilot quite well, as they have 3 pools of health, and it helps to have more small damage than one big damage against them. Other thing that you should not sleep on is the Penguin Shielder. I am now trying to use the Penguin Shielder to defend against the Cobalt Rush with the help of my hero, because later in the game it comes really neat if this 234 shields completely absorbs the blow of a big boy. So, as you can see, this Axe Buffalo would kill a Vanguard easily with one shot on the same level. However, the Penguin will take 2 shots. On top of that, the Penguin costs less mana. Deployment costs of 15, Vanguard 25. So I'm here making the case to get the Penguin Shielder instead of the Vanguard, as the Vanguard will be useless later on, and the Penguin Shielder is still an amazing tank because it takes 2 hits guaranteed from any big boy that attacks you, while your others are able to attack the big boy with more damage. He does not come with damage. He is arguably the best tank in the game because of its low cost of 15 mana and still taking 2 hits from any source. When it comes to the towers, I cannot really recommend the towers. Frostwind, definitely very interesting ability because it costs nothing. I would recommend that as a second spell to be played because it's just great also in challenge mode. All around, having something that costs nothing is pretty awesome. The hammer, I did myself not get to play around it too much, but I just like the idea of the artifacts and I might give him some try. But for you, my recommendation is Cobalt Bomb, Penguin Shielder, Cobalt, Hunter, and Frostwind. Now tier 2 is a little bit more interesting. We have to deal with air. We should have some AoE and... oh, what was that? I think my sound disconnected. But yeah, so the most important thing is AoE. And I think AoE is done by the Moth Lady. The Enchantress is the superior unit at the start, but she will fall off later. I have a video planned for tomorrow that will explain that a little bit more. So, Moth Lady, very good. Who's a big boy tank here? He's a big boy tank. The Smasher is just a great all-around unit. It smacks buildings quite well. It smacks heroes quite well. It smacks units quite well. It takes care of the Draken, which on the other hand takes care of AoE of a lot of units. But I recommend the Smasher over Draken here and the Moth Lady over the Enchantress. The Rifle Owlbear is an amazing card. This is the card that I honestly lose the most against because of its high range. It has a range of 7 compared to the Archer having a range of 5, which means you have the potential of spreading the Owlbear more. So you can attack from larger positions, and he really wrecks the Smasher greatly with his only normal movement speed. And same movement speed, you attack him, you can play a lot with pulling your units back, sending them back in. You can really, this is the card where you can outplay the enemy the most. It also obviously is anti-air against Moth Ladies, very great. When it comes to the stats, pretty decent stats. So yeah, my recommendation definitely goes out to him, especially also with the range. Moth Lady having 3, him having 7. It's a card where you can do some great plays. Another card that I would recommend, so basically as safe picks we have the Smasher, the Moth Lady and the Rifle Owlbear. Another card that is just amazing is the Salamander. Just look at those stats, they are insane. He does AoE damage, he has a huge health pool and a lot of attack damage. He really also and a big range. It's really underestimated. It is though that the damage will be smaller, but his range and AoE damage, he just takes care of my Smashers so well. So this would be the 4th card I recommend. The Hatchling being an interesting alternative because he can deliver high damage on Smashers or like big boys as well. But yeah, let me give you the Rifle Bear, the Moth Lady, the Salamander, and the Smasher. Oh, and let me not forget, the Boulder Eruption is an absolutely amazing spell. Really high damage. I use it as to counter tier 3, honestly. Sometimes I stay tier 2 and tag the Boulder Eruption instead of going tier 3 and use it to, well, kill what they prepared for so long. So definitely a recommendation here as well. Tier 3, to be honest, the only card that I use on tier 3 really often is the Cannoneer. And the Cannoneer just to take care of the really pesky Demoness, which is a very strong card, and the Dragon, which is also a very strong card. The Dragon is obviously a card that you can play at the moment. He will obviously, as all the legendary cards, be outscaled later. More about that in tomorrow's video. But yeah, the Cannoneer just as an important counter, and I do sometimes like to go all in with Iron Golems if I'm just already ahead and I need some bigger guy instead of the Smasher, you know, like he is taking care of being my frontline in the later game. I have stopped playing the Axe Buffalo because the Iron Golem does the job just so much better, as I still have Smashers or something else tech that do high damage into the face of some range unit that is up front. That's the only time I really play the big boys in later game, when I'm able to drop the melee boys in the face of the opponent, often more squishy targets that they one or two shot them. And I think for that reason I just prefer the tankiness of the Iron Golem more, with the late game being more about destroying the structure faster than the enemy does. And the Cannon Turtle is doing a similar thing with the structure, but in my opinion, very rarely played. Though it is an epic card and you might upgrade a few of them, you have enough gold. You're not like me upgrading everything, and I think with what I told you just now, that should give you a good understanding. A little bit of a wild card when you play the challenge mode, the wave survival mode, or like also the boss, the guild boss hunt. The Arcane Blaster really does wonders in those two modes. So I can give you that as a, well, not for the main game, but for the side game recommendation. I hope this really helped, or I really hope this helps you. Those are my recommendations. Do you have any other suggestions? Let me know in the comments, discuss it. I would love to hear your guys' opinion. I am not the best player in the game. I do believe I have a fair understanding, but I'm always happy to learn something from you guys as well. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.